Welcome back to CAD 101 Inventor. In this episode, we're continuing our basic part modeling series by starting part 2 of the engineering drawing. Our goal in this video is to take the 2D drawing and begin building the base geometry that will eventually become our final 3D part. Along the way, we're going to practice reading an engineering drawing, starting sketches on the correct plane, and building clean, fully constrained geometry before we move into extrusion. Before we take a jump into Inventor, we're going to start by taking a look at our drawing for today. Our part today in this video is kind of a almost wedge-shaped piece. We've got our front view here, our top and our side view. So again, we're going to be sketching this one on the front. That's the side that has the most dimensions, the most details, whereas the other two sides are simply just an extrusion or a depth here. So again, when we go over to Inventor, we're going to start by building the base profile. And that means creating that overall shape, identifying the key dimensions, and then sketching the geometry so it's fully constrained. Once the sketch is stable and complete, we'll be ready to turn that 2D sketch of that front face into the full 3D feature. Alright, now we're over in Inventor. Just like last video, we're going to go ahead and start our new part by pressing the New and Part button. And then we're going to start by creating our sketch on the right profile, or our right face. So again, just like last time, this is going to be on the front. So start sketch, click on the front on the view cube, and click on that XY plane. We're going to start this drawing with line tools and starting in the origin. Again, best practice is always to start at the origin. As we draw our line a little bit to the right, we're going to go ahead and start typing dimensions and angles in here. So the bottom of our piece is 5 inches long. It is a straight line, so just be very careful here. You can see, even though it looked like it was straight, it's actually saying 0.30 degrees. We want this to be at a full 0. So there we've got our first line. Now we're going to go straight up to form the next part of our drawing. And whenever you have a shape like this that has different fillets and chamfers, the way I kind of work this is I create the overall block that's kind of the boundaries of the piece, as if you were handing a machinist a full block of metal and then having them kind of whittle away or cut different angles and parts off to get that final shape. So the overall part is 2.8 inches, 8 inches. So I'm typing 2.88. Then we are 5 inches back towards the y-axis, making sure that's at an exactly 90-degree angle. And one thing to call out real quick is, as I do that, you can see down and to the right of my cursor, there is a perpendicular icon kind of floating in space. That's letting you know that it is creating this line perpendicular to this line. And that is the perpendicular constraint, or auto constraint. And then last but not least, 2.88 down to the bottom. And that icon there with the arrow and the dot is letting you know that those two lines are coincident, or basically share the same endpoint. So we've got a parallel constraint, or sorry, perpendicular. We've also got a horizontal and an even constraint down here as well. So a lot of different constraints locking this part in place. We've now completed the shape, so it's completed the lines that it was creating. I don't need this green dimension. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to click on this one, move it out of the workspace a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this 90-degree one. I don't need that 5. I'm just going to kind of clean this up a little bit. I don't want this one off to the right. It's going to cause some issues. So I'm actually going to go ahead and dimension this off to the left. 2.88, hit enter. All right. So now I'm going to go through. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this corner has a chamfer. So up here in my create, I'm going to switch the fillet to a chamfer. I'm going to type my distance to 0.05. And then I'm just going to zoom in on this corner. And if I go right to the corner, it automatically does both lines. If not, I can click on one and then the other, and it does it as well. Either way works. And it gives me that 0.05 chamfer there in that corner. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a kind of an offset line. So from this edge, I'm going to create a line that goes down vertically from the top. We don't really have dimensions for this, so I'm just kind of winging it for right now. And basically, I'm using this because I'm going to end up making a diagonal between here and here in a minute. I'm going to dimension from this edge to this line. If we look at our drawing, there's a 1.72 dimension in here. So there we go, 1.72. Now we can do the line that goes from this corner to this corner. Now we're going to clean this up a little bit using our trim tool. So right here we got our trim, just like in AutoCAD. We no longer need that side, we no longer need that, that, or that. So we're slowly getting the overall outline of our shape. We need to put a few dimensions in here and some constraints to start locking some parts down. So let's try vertical and horizontal constraints to see if we can lock some of these in place. So this should be a vertical line. There we go. Now, if we look at our white lines versus purple lines, we've got fully constrained. This corner's constrained. That's constrained, constrained, constrained. We've really just got this kind of edge up here that is not. So again, we'll fix that here momentarily. I still need to fillet this curve and this curve. So we're going to go ahead and go fillet. Right now the default is 0.125, which happens to be what this corner is here. So we're going to lock that one in. And then we've got another one that is 0.25. So I hit that drop down, change it to 0.25, and then that is that corner. There we go. All right. Now if I drag this dot, I should not be able to if this dimension was doing what it's supposed to. So I'm actually going to delete this. And we're going to recreate it. Let's see what these different dots are going for. That dot's not really serving a purpose. We're going to go ahead and delete that dot. That is my radius dot for this fillet, so we'll leave that there for now. All right, dimension. We're going to zoom in here. And right where the split is between the white and the purple line, I'm going to go ahead and select that point. And I want that to this far edge. Now if I drop that down, that should be 1.72. Now my top line is locked in white. And it's now just telling me that I need one more dimension to be fully constrained. And while I can't see it, oh, what do we got there? That is one. So our sketch did not tell us where this fillet curve starts or ends. So we're going to kind of, this is where we have to add in a dimension ourselves to make this work. So I'm going to go ahead, hit the dimension line or the dimension tool. I'm going to click on this big long purple line and just go up a little bit, then click. So One of the instructions we have for this assignment is anything that we do need to add, we need to make it a nice, clean, even number, or a simple number. So it should not be 3.411. Numbers like 3.0, 3.25, 3.5. This here is pretty close to 3.5, so I'm going to go ahead and type 3.5. Make that a 3.5 inch line. Now we've got the shape. And if we kind of compare these side by side, they look pretty close to even. Last thing I need to do now on this shape before I finish the sketch is to add my circle. So we're going to do our center diameter circle here. It goes roughly about here. Our radius is 0.98. So I'm going to type that in and hit enter. Now it's purple. It's not fully dimensioned. I need to go ahead and do 2 dimensions. 2 dimensions needed to get it locked in place. Our center of that circle to the far left edge, that is 1.88 per the drawing. And then from the center dot to the bottom, that one is 1.44. And there we go. Now everything is fully constrained. Got a nice, beautiful picture, no purple lines. We're going to go ahead and hit Finish Sketch. I'm going to hit the home on the view cube to spin it there in place. And here in a second, I'm going to extrude it. And so, again, just wanted to call it out. We didn't rush to get to this extrusion part. We wanted to make sure we had a clean, fully defined sketch first. That's going to ensure that this geometry is stable and our part is able to be predictably made when we get to manufacturing it later. So I've hit the extrude button, looking at my drawing. My extrude or my depths are 1 inch. I need to select the profile that I'm going to extrude, which is kind of the base of this object. It's already got 1 inch in there by default. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And there is my fully extruded part. At this point, I'm going to hit save. Go ahead and save it down. So this is part 1. Hit enter. And I'm fully done with this 3D model. And that completes this portion of modeling this part from our engineering drawing. In this episode, we focused on building that base sketch and preparing the geometry to later build the 3D feature. In the next video, we're going to wrap up this assignment by adding in some additional features, sketching on a couple of different sides or faces of our object, and making, quite honestly, our most complicated part to date here in Inventor. So if you're following along with the class at home, make sure the sketch was fully constrained before moving forward. And if you're ready for the next video, click on the icon or the link on the left. That'll take you to the next video. Or click on the video on the right, take you to my latest and greatest upload. And as always, feel free to help support the channel by subscribing down below. And thanks for tuning in.